Hello there fellow humans, today I'm going to do a complete shop review of what's in the shop right now, because, you know, why not? And then I'm going to go through the more interesting ones and maybe play a tank or two. So, let's start off, go right in, WoT obviously I made a separate video on that as well. It's an okay tank, wouldn't really buy it. This container, obviously 23 euros is 8.5k gold, so you won't really lose anything if you go for it, unless you get the WoT and you don't want it. Battle passes are always a great thing to buy. But only if you're active, that is. This, wouldn't really recommend it. I mean, sure, you get a guaranteed tank, but, I mean, who the hell wants an STG? Anyway, then, these two. Now, this price right here is absolutely ridiculous, and it's a joke. Now, I personally don't own the Canoniac Panther. I don't want it. And probably neither should you, because it's a very not interesting tank. It doesn't have any armor. The gun's not really great either, and it's just a WZ-122, one whatever in bad, and there's certainly no value to in terms of this. The 25 can be fun, especially in mad games, but still, it is quite a power creep tank these days, so I wouldn't really recommend these two either. Unless you're really a paper tank destroyer fan, then you might as well go for it. Then these two, I mean, the IS-2SH is shit, so that's the only thing that tank honestly has. And then the Chrysler K, which is a good tank, I guess, but obviously it's no T-34 E2 and is also no T-34, and the T-34 is cheaper and also better, so that is up to you whether you want a rear turret tank like that. That is then also more expensive. Then, 907, wow, it's a waste of money, that's all it is, really, unless you're like a really good player, and at that point you do better in a Leo, so there is no point in this tank. I mean, LT-430, I don't think I have to say that. Any tier 8 that's over 10,000 gold is a rip-off, so no. Then, these three, again, the only interesting one out of these three is the Tiger 131 for 3,000 gold, and that's only really if you like Tigers, because the other two are, well, shit, and you can get this one for free, even with the new free gambling crates that are designed to create a gambling addiction, so that you then gamble on real crates. But yeah, Tiger 131 is quite interesting. However, it's tier 6, so don't expect it to make you any credits. It's more like a fun tank to work with. Same with these two. I mean, they're 3 euros. I wouldn't really get them. I mean, sure, they can be fun, I guess, but they're tier 3, so it's up to you whether you want to, like, waste your money. Then this gold subscription is actually very good, you know. If you do log in these 10 days, you're going to get quite a good value out of this thing. And obviously, British Invasion, I don't think I have to tell you that crates are bad, but this it's not bad at all. This is quite good, actually. And then we'll have a look at the single offers as well down here. Obviously, 7.5k and is too much for this thing, and 6k is a complete joke because this is about worth 2k, roughly. But yeah, that's about the shop review in terms of what's everything in there. Now let's focus on two tanks more specifically, and there's going to be the Chrysler K and the Tiger 131, because those are the only two that are actually somewhat interesting that are in the shop right now. Now obviously, this thing, very strong turret, very decent DPM for a heavy tank like that, 310 alpha damage, alright penetration. I mean, it's no T-34, 10 degrees of gun depression, but it only really works over the sides because it's quite wide at the front. The mobility is decent enough. Obviously, it's not slow, it's not very fast. Obviously, it's a heavy tank, so it's good mobility for a heavy tank, and the armor on the turret is very strong. You do have a cupola, however, and the sides is complete paper because obviously they're flat. So in an angle like this, they'll still be effective, but as soon as you go like this, you're completely penetrable. Same with the lower plate. So let's go straight into it. So let's get right into the battle, and the T28 prototype is doing it right. Yes, there we go. Now obviously this map is horribly balanced because the enemy team here gets the most important spot on the map for free, basically, and then this team has to fight back for it, which is just very stupid, obviously, because, you know, this entire position, they get it for free, and especially if our fast tanks don't take this rock position, then that's not very ideal. Now, let's hope that they're not there. We're gonna have to go for it, I guess. And let's see what we can do. Hello there. Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, they just get that position completely for free. They don't even have to fight for it. Just get the advantage gifted to them. So I would like to see a rebalance here in this position. But the lightweight has kind of made a mistake here and has kind of thrown it away. I'm going to have to turn already. And I'm going to shot in the back. And I have no idea what my team is doing because they're not doing anything. I have to go forward, use the rock as cover. Yeah, look at that. They just get all the good positions and now we're just boxed in. And that's simply how this map works, which is really sad because obviously this is the most important side of the map. So they do have quite a big advantage there. Okay. But obviously, if I can hold this, that would be very nice. Okay. Anyway, the 10 degrees of the gun depression is very useful over the side. But obviously, do consider that it's quite a long tank. So you are going to be able to get hit quite easily. And also, obviously, because it is quite a long tank, you can't really peek around corners unless you're side scraping, because you have to send your weak half first, so it'll be penned right in the front plate. And obviously the gun depression is only really effective at an angle like this, where you can be penned in the side. So it's, overall, it's a very, how do I say that, quite not useful tank. It's not a bad tank, but it's not a very useful tank, because it's just, you have to do so many maneuvers to make it useful that it doesn't become useful anymore. Meanwhile, the T-32 or the T-34, all you gotta do is press W, find yourself a hold down spot, and you're good. May kind of overestimated his reload time there. Okay, gonna have to do the Eagle. He shouldn't be much of a problem. I mean, then again, it's a T-7. Gonna face hug him because this thing is very good in face hugging, because then you can't hit the lower plate. However, you have to watch out if you're against a tall tank, like a VK-100 for example. You are going to be able to be penned in the cupola on top of the vehicle. Okay, also track him by ramming him, and there we go. Wonderful. So yeah, as you can see, it can work quite well. It has very good rotational speed, so it's hard to outturn it. But overall, as you can see with the gun depression, with the whole engine stuff at the front, it is quite, well, uneven. And while it is a good tank, it's not very good to plate. So it depends whether you like this kind of thing or not. Certainly, I'm not going to make a recommendation either for or against it, because at this point, do you want this thing? Do you think you're going to do well with it? I wouldn't recommend it. Kind of. Like, I personally wouldn't buy this tank again. Then, second one, Tiger 131, has 2000 DPM, 2 tiers lower, so that's already quite interesting. The penetration is obviously a lot less. You have 8 degrees of gun depression, and also quite decent mobility for a heavy tank of tier 6. And you also have the 100mm of armor, which is same as the Tiger, a tier higher, but you're now 1 tier below. So, have a look at this thing. Obviously, it's not to make credits or anything like that, it's just, do you like a Tiger, and do you want to have a bit of fun at a lower tier? So, here we go, even to the battle, and it's obviously a tier 6 game now. In a tier 7 game, you might struggle quite a bit. However, you know, obviously against tier 5s, it's basically a tier 7, a stock Tiger. You know, this is the real gun, you know, because the Tiger, one at tier 7, has a gun that it never used in reality. This Tiger, however, is the real Tiger. This is the actual 88mm that the real Tiger actually used. So, if you are into history and you like that, then it can be an interesting tank as well, because, I mean, it's 2000 gold, and that is not really a lot, I'd say. But obviously, it's not a great credit grinding tank, so it's only like, do you want to collect something like this? And if you do try to collect something, then this is maybe one of the tanks that you want to have. Now, Matilda BP, it's a British tank, it can pin this thing, because, you know, the Germans didn't understand the concept of making sloped armor until the Panther, apparently. But now, what you want to do with this is you want to shape it like this. You know, that this, when your gun is over the front track wheel, and the gun is pointing at the enemy, that's exactly how you want it angled, because then your front armor and your side armor are the most effective. And that is exactly how it should be. Now, obviously, 100mm don't seem too great. And obviously, I am getting penned quite a lot here, especially by an SU-100. So, while the armor is thick, it's not very good. But it is definitely good enough to bounce a couple of shots. And to not die instantly, especially on the turret. The hull, however, yeah, it's more of lucky bounces than not. But then again, it's tier 6, so nothing in tier 6 really has any armor. So there is that. Okay, let's try to go for the spark here. We do have a camping medium tank, which is, I guess there is not much difference in skill between tier 6 and tier 10, but at least in tier 6 you can have fun. Okay, now, what do we know? We know that they're all there. That's interesting. And there's the Excelsior, which is obviously through my side. Gonna load the HE here. Try to see if he does peek. And that should definitely be enough. Now, I mean, obviously, yeah, that is enough. Nice. Also, the KV-3 is stock, because that's the guy that shot me when he was camping. There we go. Gotta be careful with this thing. Especially with the camping Cromwell B, which is also another one of those funny little T6 tanks that aren't really great for grinding credits, but they're great for having fun. So, and obviously, the game's about fun. If you don't have fun, why are you playing? Okay, and if you haven't watched, if you have watched until now, and you haven't liked yet, why? Also, don't forget to obviously subscribe, and also check out the links in the description, if you want to. Okay, now, let's have a look. What can we do here? Now, you know, it's a Tiger. It plays just like the Tiger 1, but a tier lower, which actually makes it quite interesting. And it also makes it a quite good introduction if you never played the Tiger 1, and you want to play the Tiger 1, but you're not sure whether you should go for the grind, and you got a couple of gold lying around that you don't need. I think this might be a quite interesting thing to go for. Okay, now, SU-100Y and the SU-100. It's gotta hurt. Obviously, those can pen me. That is not a question here. So let's see whether this guy... Gonna have to be careful though, because the SU-100 is obviously gonna be able to peek right here. So, it's not ideal, certainly. Try and track it, or not. And now that Cromwell could, maybe, if we had a brain, he could like flank around, or he just dies. But yeah, then again, he was camping at the back of the entire game, so you can't expect him to have any brain. Okay, I hope this thing is gonna kill him. Better do, because I mean, obviously the SU-100 is on the other side. And he's definitely camping in the bush. I mean, he's pushing me as he's camping in the bush as well, so can't do anything. Which is obviously not great, and this is how it must feel. This is a realism simulator right now. Okay, I'm going to try to side scrape it, which might work. Take a shot. Nope. Yeah, he's pushed. Ah! Take a shot. Come on. Nope. Oh well, that's 2.2k damage, which ain't too bad. I mean, it was a perfectly realistic game there, you know. It did quite well. It got wrecked by the Russians. So, yeah, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. That's the shop review. See you for the next one. Goodbye.